There is a lot of developing news from the United States, including a phone call between Putin and Trump. Also the news that two Minnesota state politicians have been shot in apparent targeted incidents while they were inside their homes. Melissa Hortman, a top Democrat in the Minnesota House, along with her husband, have been killed. State Senator John Hoffman and his wife were both shot but survived. They're now being treated in hospital. Well, this is the scene in the past hour. A vast manhunt is underway. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has spoken, calling it a politically motivated assassination.
We must all, Minnesota and across the country, stand against all forms of political violence. At this precipice moment we're on, this tragic act here in Minnesota should serve as a reminder to all of us. The democracy and the debates in the halls of Congress, in state houses, in school boards, is a way to settle our differences peacefully and move society to a better place.
Bring in our US correspondent Mark Stone joining us from Washington. Mark, we'll get on to that Putin-Trump call in a few moments' time. But before that, just tell us what more we know about this situation in Minnesota.
Beyond the tragedy that you've just described, not a great deal. There is a manhunt underway. It appears two separate targeted assassination, two assassinations and two assassination attempts. State Representative Melissa Hortman, who was a long-time representative in her community, first elected back in 2004, a top House Democratic leader in the state legislature. She and her husband were shot dead in their home. And in a separate incident, which is believed to be linked to the first shooting, the state senator John Hoffman and his wife were shot and injured. Both these politicians are Democratic Party politicians. Mr. Hoffman, first elected back in 2012. So these are well-known people in their community. There is a distinction between senators and congresspeople here in Washington and state senators, which are at local level. These are local level politicians who would have done the groundwork across Minnesota over the election late last year, very well known in their community. There has been a statement from the President, Donald Trump. I'll read it to you. He says, "I have been briefed on the terrible shooting that took place in Minnesota, which appears to be a targeted attack against state lawmakers. Our Attorney General Pam Bondi and the FBI are investigating the situation, and they will be prosecuting anyone involved to the fullest extent of the law. Such horrific violence will not be tolerated in the United States of America. God bless the great people of Minnesota, a truly great place." So says Donald Trump. He referenced Pam Bondi there. She is his Attorney General. She too has released a statement. She says, "I'm closely monitoring developments in Minnesota after what appears to have been a targeted attack against state lawmakers. The FBI is on the ground investigating this case alongside state and local partners. This horrific violence will not be tolerated," she says, "and will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law." So political violence in the United States, this is a country that is no stranger to that. But again, there has been what appears to be an act of political violence. The gunman is on the run, and so people are being told right now to remain indoors. And there were some protests planned in Minnesota today, protests, in fact, against Donald Trump and what he is doing in terms of immigration. People have been told that they probably ought to stay away from those protests right now because there is an active manhunt underway.